Hello, iJob Doer here, and today's little adventure is we've got a water heater to deinstall for now, and looking it over here, someone did like a little rookie mistake, and that is over here we got a pop-off valve, which yes, that's very dangerous, because that there has been jerry-rigged to keep it from popping off. Basically, what happened is that someone tripped that to see if it drained out okay, and it did. But since it hasn't been drained out in a long time, stuff can build up or it gets weak in the spring, and then guess what? It don't stop draining out. Now, with the water off, this here could be just unscrewed. You take away this fitting here, and you can usually unscrew the pop-off valve and replace them with a same type pop-off valve. But they decided that this one here was manufactured in 2005, so it's a little bit old, and it's time to replace, because there's other weird things, like a little melted here. You see the plastic collar right there? Yeah, a little melted going on. And I believe on top is some melted too, so maybe this has some excessive heat that happened to it. The other thing to look out for if you have a hot water heater and issues is down here you got a drain plug, right? Drain cock. And so what happens there is that supposedly once a year, to maintain these things, you're supposed to hook a hose up to it, open it up, drain some water out to get some of the sediment that might build up in the bottom of these things out. Well, same thing. If you didn't do that for a long time or a while, when you undo this to kind of drain some water out, it never seals back up again. There's like crud in there and you just keep leaking. And then we got here some of the little parts here, so I'm doing a tour. And you got the striker here, so sort of push that. You got the gas valve, you got a temperature down here to set, and you got a little safety thing over here, I guess. Then you got the gas line that comes in through here, and this one goes down around and over here to the wall where you have it. Now shut off. Have this lever here been like this, parallel, gas would be on. So that's shut off now. And also on this here, hopefully you have this at your house, your water heater, is you have back in here, you can see a valve. That there is a cold water valve. So, I've already tightened that down. I think the gate valve. So hopefully it's keeping the water from coming into this thing. And then on the outside here you have a no valve for the hot water. Usually you don't, but those are kind of nice to have depending on how your house is set up. So, step one here is to go back down to this part here. Whether yours is electric or gas, it doesn't necessarily matter. There is some parts that matter. But step one is to turn it off. So I'm looking at this thing here. You got warmer, you got vacation. In that case, that's not off. You need this right here. This right here you can turn, and what you do is there's an on over here. You hold this down, and that lets gas go through, and you hit this striker. Just kidding. You hit that striker. Normally you want to kind of look in this panel here too, just to make sure what's going on. And if you don't have a striker, you might have to use a match like that, or those long things that produce flame. Anyway, so that's for lighting it. And this one here could be probably relit, but like I said, it's still going to leak. So, this right here, like that, and then of course after you get it on, then you turn it on this way here, so on is lined up there. So we're just going to go ahead and turn it back off. So off is lined up there. You can't push this down now. And shazah, it's shut off. And gas is off, water's off, and we're ready to start the draining process. So I'll go retrieve a hose. Look, we've got a door there to go out with. So I'll put a hose on it and see what happens. Now, while you drain this, word of advice. Some have faucets. Some have, one faucet here, which, turns on left and right for hot and cold. And some have, two faucets. Not for hot water heaters, but like for sinks and such. If you have two faucets, it's usually okay to run the cold water. If you have one faucet, it's not. If you unhook your water heater and you turn that on cold, slightly warm, whatever, your cold water will go up and back down through the hot water pipe and will make a mess probably. Or this tank will never stop draining. Okay, if you have this kind of valve, hose time goes like this. First I take a little rag and I wipe off the threads. Get some of that gunk off of them. Hose with the washer inside. Get that thing attached. Nice and tight. And right. Now this thing here turns. And right, so we got it turned on there, so it's draining. Then, if you actually run out there and see where it's draining at, you'll notice it's a small little trickle kind of coming out of it. And so what you want to do from here is go turn on, if you have it hopefully, not a hot and a cold, just a hot water valve, right? Hot water valve. Turn that on, and you'll hear it drain even faster, hopefully. So I'll go find one here at the top, and this has a little bit of a different configuration than yours might have. This has two flexible hoses that goes to the, what they call a nipple, up there on top, which is basically, the nipples are these small little pieces of pipe here. Right there, the rusted looking thing. Yeah. So that there, I'm going to leave that rusted thing on there. And I'm actually going to leave this part of the extension on, but I'm going to follow it up where it has a union. I'm going to take it off there, right there. And I'm going to take off the other one. So I believe the near one here is hot. The back one there, no, this one's hot, no, cold. Hot's back there. You can tell because there's blue, that plastic there's kind of melted blue, and the other one has red around it. See, so that's hot. Anyways, so I'm going to take off the hot from there. The blue I'm going to take off from that union, and because I'm not slapping in another hot water heater here, real quick like, I'm going to hook those together. So it's all going to be a functional closed system again. So I start by just getting an adjustable wrench, is my favorite for these here. And get it adjusted to the right fit, which is about that. Which, if you folks at home, that's, I don't know, 1/8 inch wrench. And I'm going to give this, actually I'm going to give it loosened up here, alright? So I got two of them. Put one on here, this union, oops, put the other one here, and one down here. Alright. Now don't forget there's a little water coming off this thing, but you might want if there's a lot of water coming off this thing. Mind you now, this has been off for a while, so there's no hot water going through this. And oops. Alright, so what we have is maybe a pipe that doesn't have a full-on off, so let me try to get this hot water off quick over here. I need a bath anyways, I guess, today. Sorry about the lighting here, the next thing is probably fixed. Alright, so getting the hot water pipe off ever so slowly. And come on. Alright, so get the hot water off here. And let's see, that goes like this. This here goes like this. Yum. And then I'll tighten these back together again. Hopefully without stripping threads. this is not the best way to be doing this. Alright, so, phew. Now, I need to cinch this down just a little bit more. Or in other words, until it stops leaking. Alright, so that there is done. This one here now, I'll extend up and have any water from it fall into the tank. I can do this now, we can do it later. Maybe I can't. Plumbings are not for the weak people out there. That's one thing for sure. Alright, so now something tells me that as much water that came out from that cold, which isn't a whole lot of water, maybe there's a good chance that cold water valve is not turned off all the way, even though I tightened it up. So that could be replaced too, or you can just leave it. You can turn the water off to the house if you want to, if you have access to it. Now here, quick, take a look at that. Now there's a washer. This pipe might be good reusable, but I can see that washer with a crack in it, so no good. Okay, the last connection up here is probably the easiest one, is this thing here. You got your vent going out, and there's a screw here, and you find a screwdriver. So, I get back on that after I find a part from the tool. Alright, so like I said, the exhaust there for this one here, all I gotta do here is basically, probably gonna do this screw here, fill around the other side so there's other screws, and we want to keep this for the next one, not so much this top hat thing, the new one's just something like that, but the exhaust itself can be usually recycled if it's in good shape and order. Alright, long enough. So that there has one on the back side. So I'll get that screw down from there. Same thing basically, just over here. Usually one, at least two, I'd say, to keep this thing from shifting around. And they don't have to be too long, probably like a 1/4 inch would do. Well, these here are a little bit longer. A little bit longer, a little bit more tiring. So, you know, if you have any questions or comments on water heaters and whatnot, you know, even if it's not how to de-install one, you know, let me know in the comments. There will be a video later on how to install one, but this one here is going to be going away, and the people want some time to paint. So, that there's done. This here should just kind of lift up like so, and yeah, just like that. So we got that gun, that gun. The next we'll be dealing with is the pop-off valve, and let's see here. Pop-off valve we got right there, and yeah, I'm going to undo the makeshift pop-off valve stuff here. Basically looks like some kind of a wire thing and some wooden things. Alright, not so hard to undo. Ooh, a nice shim, use that later for something else. And we got a wire here, and we got pop-off valve. So, normally, pop-off valve, right? if pressure builds up exceeding what it should on the pop-off valve rating, this here, you know, it pops off. And then water runs out here, and hopefully, if you have it installed probably correctly, up to code whatever nowadays I think you have to have it running outside. So this would come down, kind of a loop, and then out through underneath there, and back around to outside somewhere. So for this right here, this is what I like to see. What was here before, and I don't know if it's a code or not, I don't care right now. Maybe I do, but this here is flexible, right? And so if you have some kind of a problem, like say an earthquake, and this thing here starts jumping around, then your rigid copper pipe won't just snap off and become useless. So this right here, I'm going to take off like so, and I might even take off this brass fitting up here. Let's see, make sure that drains out. And I just happen to have here, let's see here if we can get a good shot here. Probably not, but wrong pipe. There, so I just happen to have a special tool. Now the part I took off is just a 3/4 inch pipe with a washer on it. So nothing big there. There's a special tool that comes back here, and I will show you how it works. You've probably seen them before at hardware stores, maybe not, but it looks like this, a little lucky horseshoe. This one here is a 3/4 inch, says right on it, and it's basically a piece of plastic. So, this bottom part here is nice and edgy. What you do is you take it up here and you kind of snap it on the pipe like this. And then you bring the whole thing down up against the end of the shark bite, and by holding the one, your pipe that you're pulling off of, you should be able to push this down and pull off your fitting. See, nice and easy, right? Alright, maybe it's just me. Let's see here. Bring it around like so, and see if I get a better grip with this or something. What's going on? Okay, I see it. It looks fine. Squeeze it. Okay, in my case, I'll push it on. And, see? Nothing to it. Anyways, how I was supposed to go is you got the pipe like this. Right, you got that pipe back there. Imagine that pipe back here going in through here, right? And in here you have a center plastic piece here that goes in the pipe, and then there's some magic in there that works. And basically this here will snap on that pipe back there. And it uses to push this edge down, which disengages the little tiny teeth in there. Alright? And that's how a shark bite works. And it stays from leaking because there's a hopefully some kind of neoprene or some kind of a gasket and washer in here, keep it from leaking. So this thing's off to be used again if need be. And we'll speak on this journey. We got one more connection. Well, technically two, but one I'm going to leave on. The hose right there will stay on. This gas line comes from here and around here. You know what? It's going to go away. And sure, I could just undo it from down there, but I'm going to go down to this mess here and see what's going on. So, because the gas valve, I'm sure it's on all standard valves around here, is like this here, perpendicular to the valve, that means it's off. If it's parallel, in line with it, that should mean it's on. And I'm going to remove this very end part here with our friend the adjustable wrench. And it should be easy. So, same thing, you get up on it, you adjust it, and one little turn, and the rest is all hand tightened, because this here is what you call a flared fitting. Flared fitting down there. Ingenious. You see the little funny shape? And that requires no Teflon tape, even though someone over here had some Teflon tape for the dryer. Now, they are correct at putting it down there, but not correct here. Alright, so there's that part, and then last but not, well, second to least, this part here, this part where the gas goes into the valve on the water heater. Same thing. Should be a flared fitting down here. Comes away, and depending on how the new one is, there's no shame in taking off this elbow. This elbow here, no shame in taking that off. Although I might need something else besides this. Might need a pipe wrench. So, there's all that, and since this is a California video, and I'm assuming other places too, you have these safety straps on it. Right? This here is the safety strap, so when the earthquake comes, it keeps it from falling over. And look, this is just secured by hand tighten. In theory, this should be a little more tighter than hand tighten. I'm just going to back this thing off all the way, otherwise it's not going to be free. Alright, so we take this nut off the carriage bolt, take the washer off, and take the carriage bolt off, and look, it falls apart. And now, if you have a problem with these straps being too loose or too tight on your ones at home, or if you're working on these on the field, whatever, like I am, these are pretty easy to adjust. Let me see which one. This one here will do. So you have here, you have this part like this, and basically what it is you have just a part of the strap, see? The strap here comes up through back there, it goes through this hole here, and then it folds back sharply, and then when you tighten these, you can maybe do it by hand, there's a little stabber, stab through this flimsy metal here. So, and then you just tighten together, hopefully better than what this has done, because this isn't really what you'd call, I guess it's secure. It didn't fall over, did it? You can test it here. Water heaters in general, I don't know, weigh a few hundred pounds when they're empty. Water heater, when they're full, weigh a lot more. So, as I finish up getting some stuff off here and check the water level on it, maybe we'll do some math. Alright, not sure if you can all hear that, but that's kind of startled me a little bit. And what that was the, hopefully less of the water draining out. Now, if you have it open, like we do here with the top pieces right here undone, it's going to cause it to drain a little bit quicker. And when you get down to it, this tank's going to start feeling a little bit lighter. In fact, you can kind of grab onto it and you have your hose down there. Let's kind of tilt it forward a little bit, with both hands, to having more water kind of leak out the bottom there. All right, so that there might be manageable. So let's do a little math here, like I said we're going to do. And we talked about water and weight. And what it is here is you got water weighing 8.39 pounds per gallon. This is a 50-gallon tank, so yeah, 419.5 pounds, give or take or so, is what this thing would weigh more than what it weighs by itself. And by emptying as much water as you can, the better it is. Now, I have had in my career a time where I had a shorter water heater, as a short stacked one, stacked, it's just short. And basically, it's about yay high or so, sat on the ground. And I went to take the valve there and open it up, and guess what? Nothing came out. I did the top pipes, nothing was coming out. So yeah, I have this industrial strength dolly, I strapped onto it and hauled it off. But that was years ago when I was just a young odd job doer. Now, I don't do that. Instead what I do though, is I hope it drains. And at this point here, we're ready to take the valve off. Not take it off, but tighten it back up probably. I might tilt it forward to see if more water comes out. I'll check in the hose, see if any more water's coming out. But tighten it up, take the hose off, and with everything else disconnected, you can see I've got cardboard down here. I'll place on the floor a little bit better, because these things are still probably heavy. And what I will be doing is a special technique here. I call it the, so I'll give it like this. I'll give it a hug, right? I'll make sure on back there's no spiders or anything dangerous. And I call it the sumo bear hug technique, where I will grab the tank at a suitable location up and down it, wrap my huggers around it, and squeeze ever so tightly to be able to grip it and bring it off of the platform down here onto the cardboard, where it can be put on a dolly and safely whisked away out the door. Now this part here, you know, if you have friends and stuff like that, could come in handy. But, you know, just in general, grabbing these things and being round, you know, it's a little hard to handle sometimes. That's why I like to do work by myself. Another fun story, talking about bear hugging it. So once upon a time, I was doing a water heater quart like this, only I think it was on a higher platform. And what had happened was, even though it looked fine, apparently there was some kind of a leak around the back of it. It's been there for years, slowly. When I went around the side to bear hug it, it started crumbling. So I went and got my gloves on, grabbed it again, and the whole back just kind of crushed in. It wasn't the tank part, it was this outer housing that had rusted away. The tank was still, well, probably leaking or something was leaking, but it was enough to get off there and then haul it away. So, next part will be the bear hug, but I'm not going to film this part because it could be dangerous and it could it could produce some language which should be not filmed. Some final words on advice here. When you go and lift this thing down, you got this thing up here, the pop-off valve. You want to make sure you don't get hit with that. And likewise, you don't want to necessarily rely on that as being a handle, because it could actually just pop off in your hand. Same with stuff down there, right? Otherwise, go something like this. Kind of approach it. Say, hey, how's it going? You know, shimmy to the edge here. You know, check its backside, make sure it's fairly clean. And see if you can give it a hug. Alright. Did you take that? Did you get it? Should I film it again? Now, time for a dolly slap on it and roll on out of here. So, as you can see now, all we got here is a little bit of nastiness that's hiding behind there. A nice ring around where the hot water heat used to be. There's a couple rings there, it looks like. And, yeah, empty corner now. So, you can see why the people want to paint first, maybe. You got some different colorization where they must have painted around it at one time. And, you know, some holes need to be filled, whatever, down there. And otherwise, this job is done. I'm going to leave it like this here. There's no leaks up top. The water's all back on and flowing fine. Sure, there's no hot water, but, you know, eventually, when the time comes and they've got this place painted and paint has time to dry good, proper, I might be called back to install a new hot water heater. So, stay tuned for that video. And if you have any questions or comments from this video, leave them down below. And thanks for watching. Odd Job Doer, out.